I'm Birdman.
I'm Bruce.
Time to get on target at
The Hub.
So we had a lot of replies back about the cult, and it's funny because one guy was calling out, "Well, this looks suspect," and I'm like, "No, legit." And he finally was like, "Oh, okay," because you don't know if somebody's just trying to do a video to get some likes and get some views and create controversy out of nowhere.
Yeah, you don't really know.
But you look at our history, and you look at we've done hundreds of guns now, and that's not what we do.
Yeah,
so,
it's not that we're in a mid. I think somebody mentioned that the dealership might do it so that way they could back out of a deal and sell it to somebody else and make more money.
Right.
Because we don't really do that here. The guns are supposed to be $1,500, I believe, but they're selling for $1,700 to $1,900.
Other people calling out that obviously they don't have the quality control that they should, and I gotta kind of agree with you.
Well, I'm the one that opened the box, and I mainly opened it because I was buying it so we could do the shoot.
Right.
And little did I know that's how that King Cobra went along too. But that was perfect.
So far, what's happened? They said.
Oh, so far they said we could do a couple things. If we're comfortable, we can put all the parts on the shelf.
Here's his call. Here comes the call.
Okay, so we'll turn that on. So if we're comfortable, we can put the parts on ourselves, or we could send it back. Now, I haven't seen the email, but I was talking to Amy about it, and that's what she mentioned. So
what are you gonna do?
They're sending the parts. And
okay.
The only reason, because it'd be kind of nice to. It's not a big thing, we are armorers and stuff here. There's just a little pin to put in to hold it, and then there's a little set screw to hold the front sights, but pretty straightforward looking. And to be honest, I think I'd rather risk that than send it back and maybe something happened to it back and forth, and then we get scratches or something. We'll keep it pristine.
Okay.
And we'll get a chance to put it in. Supposedly they're going to be here by FedEx on Friday, and that's going to be whatever this is.
So that's a week out already. So yeah,
a week out already.
We'll be tracking this in real time.
Yeah, and then
via
hopefully
the shows,
we'll go forward with it, and we'll go and show you how it was. And if it's just a simple, I still would like to find out where that is in the mix of how they build it.
It's really obvious that nobody's looking at it. They're just running through the motions of building a gun. Yeah. And that really honestly needs to get addressed. I mean, they're just running through the motions. Because somebody had to have put it inside the bag and looked at it and been, because they're just
the bag is wrapped nice.
They're obviously just listening to music, jamming along and dropping it in there. And
they got all the tags on it. The tags you put on the trigger guard and stuff?
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll find out. We're going to find out how good it is. And, so far, they're going to take care of everything, and we'll see.
Okay.
So, with that, today I thought we'd hit on, and since we're waiting for that, we can't do the shoot today.
Vroom, look at all this.
Yeah, we're going to see all these guns. So, I've been thinking, we've been working on this grip thing. I don't know how, it's almost like we're beating a dead horse with this grip, with the get a grip thing. And there'll be a picture of that. You'll be able to see.
No, just hand it to me.
Oh, I'll hand it to you.
I'm going to do it like old school. See?
Old school.
Get a grip.
Get a grip.
Yeah, that's his.
So, yeah, we've been.
You paid for that, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah,
it costs like $3.
$3.
That's a legal reason to be able to.
But he has it. He owns it. So there you go.
I own the picture. Anyway, so get a grip. It's funny because a lot of people that have handguns, maybe they have shotguns and things like that.
Right.
But see, shotguns, we talk about grips and how they fit and how it changes how you shoot. And I've been watching some of the students lately, and that's why I brought a couple different guns. And what we're talking about is length of pull, LOP. And that term is usually used for shotguns and rifles, and that's where the trigger fits. And so if you go someplace to learn to shoot skeet and trap, first thing I want to do is get the shotgun to fit you. And they'll stick it towards your elbow, and then they'll see where your finger is, and they'll figure out what the length of pull should be. And the reason they do that is because the length of pull allows your trigger to fit perfectly on there, your trigger finger to fit on the trigger, and you'll be able to manage the recoil and shoot better. Rather than having one that's too long or too short and you have to adapt all the time. And if you have one too short, a lot of times your finger in a hurry could come over the trigger too far, and then it's almost impossible not to pull the gun slightly. And if it's too long, you can barely get your finger where it belongs, and you have no strength to pull it correctly.
It's like a serious Goldilocks moment going on here.
It is. Yeah. So I brought these guns because we've done this inadvertently ourselves.
Right.
And we found different ways. Now, if you start with these two Rugers here, one's a 3-inch, of course, and one's a snub nose. Forget the calibers. These frames are the same.
The same.
Yeah, same frame, except the difference is if you look at the grips.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so if you put these in your hand, we've already safety checked, we'll double it again. Okay. You put both these in your hand, you hold that in your hand, and you'll find that the trigger's in a different location than if you hold this.
We can show that here. We got this here. So anyways, here, so actually let's do this. Hold on a minute. I'll flip down the camera. Got to run the camera and do it else. So we've got this one here.
Hold your hand
like
differently on it.
What do you mean differently?
I mean, your angle of your hand and your finger is different on this gun than this one.
Oh, okay.
Even though the grips are the same.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it
now,
actually forces it down.
Here's what I've noticed.
And this is the same frame, but the grips.
The grip is what changes it.
Huh.
the grip angle. Now, you could put this grip on this one.
You could put this grip on this one.
Yeah, the difference is then it's going to be a little longer, and
Okay.
it may or may not be involved in printing or sticking out someplace.
Okay, right.
But by changing this, and how this came about, as you know, we sell a lot of Ruger LCR hammerless, and we sell a lot of Smith hammerless.
And before somebody corrects him, yes, they have a hammer.
Yeah,
It's
inside.
just the designs with. Yeah, thank you.
So we all, it's almost like saying, is that magazine 17+1? Well, the magazine says 17, everything's +1.
Yeah, right.
In fact, we joke around here is with revolvers, it's 5+1.
Boom, boom, boom.
If it's a 6-shot, forget that. But getting back to these, I've noticed sometimes with people and they're just learning and they don't have a lot of finger strength because double actions have a 10-pound trigger.
Right.
That they can pull the trigger on this Smith, one like this,
Right.
which is a smaller grip. They can't pull it on the Ruger, even though the Ruger has a lighter trigger pull. So it's where the finger fits. So now we're not going to be discussing length of pull on handguns, but we brought it up, it helps you. So if this thing fits you from the beginning better,
Right.
you're going to learn faster. And I brought these other two examples of this exact thing that we didn't even know we were doing all this time. We'd like to find something that fits.
Yeah.
This particular gun, this Smith Snubney 8-shot here, came with these wood grips. And if you put those in your hand, you can feel how they feel. They're nice and thin. But then we put these VZ grips
Pull
on
back
this
here.
so I could shoot it better. And this one, and
I'm not sure. It's not shown on there, so I've
this
covered it. So yeah, so we've got this here,
that's just a grip.
just a grip,
That's
and then
See how it feels it better?
and it's
And it makes it. And so anyway, I shoot
and this
it.
is a little thinner.
Yes, I shoot this better with that grip on it.
So and I've got a Sig Sauer P226.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I've got to get a thinner grip on it because I literally it's just a little bit too meaty.
And that's the same
in
thing.
that middle section for me.
Then we'll move into this one next.
Yeah.
This is a Beretta. You want to hold?
And it's funny because I think this is the lightest gun here.
Yeah. The Beretta 92 or whatever the
Right.
designation happens to be. You'll notice first off, this is a stainless gun with aluminum bottom.
Right.
All of them have aluminum, except that they're black normally, not this
Right.
color, not natural aluminum. Now the difference is this grip is considerably smaller. You see how thin?
Yeah,
The one that
yeah,
came with
yeah.
it is extremely fat. If you were to look at the back, you can't even guess how. This is called a palm swell. You see how that's cut out?
Yeah, it's actually. I don't know if you can make that out. I'm going to point it back this way. So I don't know if you can make that out, but it actually indents.
So if you have this gun, and
Here.
this one has a fatter grip than the blue gun does, it's got rubber
Right.
instead of the thinner plastic. So this does two things. It thins it out, and we just kind of drop that down. It thins it out, but it also has texture. So I shoot this better like this than I did with the fatter grip.
Right.
Because it happens to fit me better. Now we jump over to something that's really neat.
There we go.
And we talked about this Gunsmoke before.
Yes.
But the funny thing is...
Just recently.
Yes, and it has this, I guess it's called a clip grip.
Yeah.
That's a term.
A pocket holder.
Yeah, the pocket holder. So this one has a Smith logo on it because it came that way, but they normally don't have the Smith logo. They got the
Right.
grip
Right.
clip logo. But what's neat about this, if you put it in your hand, besides having a clip, look what it does to my trigger finger.
Yeah.
Okay? It moves it away.
Right.
So when I pull the trigger, it's exactly where it needs to be as compared to in here.
Right. So yeah.
See how it holds it out?
Once again, yeah, we'll do that, and then so it puts you. It almost positions you perfectly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now-
and of course, as you learn it, and this is why, you got to practice
yeah.
with a gun. You can't just carry it and not shoot it. You've got to practice with it, and you've got to know where and
Yep.
when and what and all that. And some people will call it muscle memory. So yeah, you do develop a sort of a muscle memory, and you'll remember where things are. It's a tactile memory, but also you've got to be able to shoot it enough to adapt to situations that are slightly different. So different hand positions. So make sure that your hand gets in the right position, but you've got to be able to adapt.
And then the other thing people say when they first look at it was hard plastic, right?
Right.
There's no forgiving in.
Right.
Once you learn to hold the gun tight, the gun doesn't move in your hand no matter
move.
what it is.
Right,
Now,
right.
if you're not holding it tight, it tends to slap you a little bit, especially some of the calibers like 327 and those calibers. They bang you a little bit. If you hold it tighter, that doesn't happen no matter what the grip. So this has a purpose, and also being slick like that with a gun like this, it's going to come out of the pocket.
Yeah.
And that's what it was made for. So I just want to recap real quick because I think we bypassed this, and I've never looked at it with length of pull, but that's all, excuse me, we're talking about with these.
Yeah.
It's the same thing you talk about with the shotgun. In fact, they go so far with the shotguns, they give you different angles in front of the stock, so it throws it differently when you throw it up.
Right.
That's the reason for that. Anyway, so trigger location in relationship to your trigger finger improves your accuracy and gun control.
Okay.
So you tend to overgrip larger handguns and undergrip smaller. Example, larger guns, you have to hold them so tight because they're so big.
Right.
Now, that's good in a tactical situation or a defensive situation because you don't want a gun being taken away from you.
Right.
And we're only looking at a 10-inch group at 8 feet. But having one that fits better, you can be more accurate with. Okay, so and the smaller guns, you think you're under gripping them a little bit, and that's a lot of times why people have a difficulty with small semis, limp wristing them
Right.
with one hand. And before people say, well, I don't shoot mine with one hand, okay, that's fine, except that in a defensive situation, we've already know that it's going to be 40% you're going to have one hand. So depending on your handgun, you can improve your grip and control by adjusting your length of pull and traction. So look at your gun before you get rid of it because you don't like it. Is there anything you can do with that? Now, we don't know how many grips are made for J-frames, but there's probably 1,000.
Right.
And you have to go someplace where you can put your hands on them, like a show somewhere where they got a display. Whoa, that's different. And I don't have a 1911 here, one of our favorite guns, and they go all kinds of thicknesses. In fact, there's so many different thicknesses that there's different screws, grip screws length, or they'll stick in your magazine wouldn't go in. So they make them so thin. So you can find something to fit it. Handguns that fit better in a hand are easier to shoot accurately. And I don't think there's if this doesn't fit your hand and you put your finger in all the way, in order to pull it, there's no way you could pull this 10 pounds and not move it to the left.
Anytime you increase comfort, you're always going to decrease your availability to fail at something. So the more comfortable you are with it, the easier it is to use.
And if you have a local gun shop, if you're here, come in and we'll talk to you about your gun. But if you have a local one that understands handguns, discuss with them. And if you have a handgun now that you're not happy with, if you come by here, we'll try to give you some ideas of what grips are available and make it easier.
You betcha.
Because just the grip makes it if you can pull the trigger or not accurately. So
cool.
That's all my preaching today.
Pretty easy today, so make sure you're checking out the classes. Everything is open and available here. The range is as well, and you can shoot lead on it. So not limited to lead-free anymore. Check out the hubaz.com if you got questions about anything else going on, the Facebook page, Instagram, all of that. Hey, I'm Birdman.
And I'm Bruce, and be safe. Hey.
Hey, thanks, everybody.
And thank you for the comments.
Yeah, see you soon.
Yes.